We continue to follow the stories of Trump supporters who vote for Trump, get what they voted for, then express confusion at what they got. Okay? The latest example is Riley Gaines. You've probably heard that name before. She's a big, particularly on the trans issues, MAGA figure. And she's appeared on stage with Trump. She's just all out there, right? Very prominent. And she was impacted now. And hear her story. Then we're going to talk about, she tries to make this, no, I'm not necessarily saying, I'm not saying it's Trump's fault. But this is her husband potentially being deported, the husband who had legal status but is losing it. And then we'll look at another story similar of sort of a deportation impacting someone who voted for Trump. But hear her story, because some of her confusion around, wait, but I thought he had legal status, is what we've mentioned to people about when you proceed with the policies of the Trump administration, you end up impacting a lot of folks you didn't even expect you're going to impact. While you watch, please do click the subscribe button.
Just got another letter from Immigration Services. I've made a video about this before, but I'm a U.S. citizen, born and raised in Tennessee, went to college at University of Kentucky, met my husband there. He's an immigrant. He moved over to the U.S. for college on an athletic scholarship from England. We've been married almost 3 years now. We're coming up on 3 years. So you would think he is well on his way to achieving his citizenship, or at least having his green card, right? No, wrong. And why can't he get his green card? Because his medical records aren't complete. And what is missing from his medical record? The COVID vaccine. Like, it is the year 2025, and we are still requiring the COVID vaccine. You can see it right here. It's backwards. Disregard. Complete the COVID-19 vaccine. But this is what they do. This is what they do to people who do it the right way. I can't even tell you how much money, thousands of dollars, we have spent on the different forms and applications and immigration lawyers and all of the different things. All for everything to expire on their time anyways. And for all you people who say, oh, Riley, your husband's here illegally, he should be deported. Just so you don't understand immigration, he is very much here legally. There are other ways to obtain residency than a green card, like visas or advanced parole. Or those of you who say, this is what you get when you voted for Donald Trump. Obviously, my husband can't vote, but if he could, he would have voted for Donald Trump. Change is coming with the current administration, but he has to undo everything that the former administration has done to our immigration system, both legally and illegally. Oh, and when they campaigned on the tagline, my body, my choice, this is proof they never really meant that.
Yeah, we've addressed that bizarre connection to vaccinations before when no one's being forced. It's if you want, as an immigrant, to live in the country, there may be vaccination requirements for the sake of public health. Also, she has a long record of being dishonest, so I have no idea if that's the actual hang up, but if it is, then my statement stands. But what's interesting is she has this attitude of, see, this is what the Biden administration does. No, Riley, we have long wanted to streamline and make more effective our legal immigration system. It is actually your ideology and your cheerleading for Trump and MAGA and the right-wing approach to immigration, the current right wing, it used to be different, that seeks to put as many roadblocks up as possible, as many obstacles. And what we're already seeing, her particular example aside, is that yes, Trump is going after people with legal status as well. I told you, when you start dehumanizing and demonizing the way that Trump has, it's going to cross over and not see any distinction between undocumented and lawful immigrants. And that's what's happening. CBS reports the Trump administration's swift crackdown on immigration has moved beyond those living in or entering the United States illegally, with officials also issuing bans and restrictions on legal immigration, including programs for refugees displaced by violence. And before getting into another video of a Trump voter, let me just get into the specifics on this. With less fanfare, Mr. Trump's actions have closed pathways for vetting and legally admitting hundreds of thousands of people fleeing war-torn Ukraine, Taliban-controlled Afghanistan, and other troubled parts of the world, including crisis-stricken Haiti and Venezuela. This is a lawful mechanism of immigration that we're discussing here. Then the article goes on. Refugee admissions suspended. Hours after taking office, Mr. Trump indefinitely paused the U.S. refugee admissions program, instructing officials to ban the entry of all refugees, a special legal classification for people vetted overseas who prove they are fleeing persecution based on their political beliefs, religion, or other factors. This is people doing it correct, as Riley Gaines would put it. And it's not the Biden administration, that's bye-bye, making it more difficult. It is a part of the ideology you've supported, saying folks are poisoning the blood. Oh no, well, he only meant that when it comes to, that distinction goes away very quickly when you start the dehumanization. Because how does the fundamental humanity of somebody change with legal status? So if you say, not just my stance, which is we should have a secure border, we should enforce immigration laws, we should have a better process, we should have lawful immigration. But for you to say, no, not just that, we also want to say that you're not a human if you're doing it illegally. Well, then that line doesn't make any sense. No members of the MAGA base, as we saw with the H-1B visa outcry, is going to understand the difference, because now it's about the humanity, not the process, not the laws, the humanity. That's what you've supported, Riley. So now, maybe yours is a carryover with the Biden administration, whatever, but people in your situation with their loved ones who even have legal status, who've done it the correct way, who've applied in their country, who are being persecuted, whatever the story might be. Trump's saying no, because those folks poison the blood. Isn't that what I said? NPR reporting the Trump administration is revoking a Biden-era extension for temporary protected status, or TPS, for Venezuelans, a move that removes the work authorization. So work authorization, I don't know if she said that her husband was work or maybe school or athletics, the work authorization for hundreds of thousands of immigrants, and makes them eligible for deportation. And this is what Trump indicated he was going to do. And so many people thought, no, but it's not going to be me. Because surely the dehumanization doesn't carry over to me. And here's an example of a man whose wife has been deported.
They turned off the cameras, excuse my language, and then they took my wife.
This man, who wished not to be identified, says his wife is from Venezuela and has lived in the United States for a few years. She was one of 3 people taken from this home. I'm told the 2 others were men who worked in construction. You see them here. This video, only a minute and 52 seconds long, we do not see his wife being removed from the home. But this is a picture of her that he keeps in his wallet. Her name is Vianis Ramirez, and he says she was in the process of becoming a United States citizen.
She already had a court date. She was good. Everything's good. He just came in and snatched her.
These are pictures from the Department of Homeland Security detaining other undocumented men and women in Broward County.
It's despicable what they're doing right now. It's very embarrassing.
President Donald Trump arrived at his Trump National Golf Resort in Doral Saturday, set to host GOP leaders for a conference. This man hopes this message makes it to him.
If I get a chance to talk to you, man, yo, please, man, let's work something out. So you, man, let me keep my wife here in the United States, man. She deserves to be here, man.
ICE reports nearly 1,000 raids in the country on Sunday alone, which is up from just under 300 on Saturday. Here at the detention center in Miramar, things have been quiet for several hours, but we will continue to monitor this situation and bring you the developing news on raids in South Florida as they happen.
Right. And so then going back to the first video that we watched, this is the argument we've been making, which often, I should say, causes the hang up, which is that whenever we get into immigration even though that one time the border security thing was really what Republicans wanted, they still slapped it down because they didn't want Biden to get a win. But on other, like when Biden initially came into office and had his immigration reform package that was slapped down by Republicans, the thing that happens is we say, yeah, let's do enhancements to our border. Let's invest more in sort of what you would call enforcement. Fine. We do want a logistically sound and secure border, but we need to pair that with a comprehensive approach as it pertains to some of the more systemic problems with the system and the processing of folks with legal status and making more efficient. Because I've also had people in my life who are going through this, doing it the quote unquote right way. And it is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And so that's a part of the problem too. And if we all believed in the benefits of lawful immigration, we could come together to have both, to have solid enforcement, to have a secure and logistically sound border, and to promote a lot of lawful immigration that is a much more effective process where cases can be heard more effectively. And we then celebrate the contributions and benefits of such a process. But whenever the Republican Party gets to a place of, and recently on a bonus show, I told you what I thought the flaws in the Democratic message and approach to immigration have been. So there are issues, but the Republican Party is the one going so extreme such that we can't ever do anything other than one sliver of the problem. We can't address anything but this one little obsession of theirs. And we need a more comprehensive approach. We need those pathways to citizenship and pathways to legal status and a recognition of the importance of the secure process and the humanity at play here. And there seems to be a detachment now for a lot of folks. And it's stunning to see folks who themselves voted for it going, whoa, oh my gosh, what's happening? No, not me. I didn't mean me. Well, Trump did. And it's heartbreaking. I'm not rooting it on, but this is, even with the legal status, the thing Trump indicated he was going to do. You now have people who are being persecuted, people whose lives are at risk, who have applied the lawful way and are being told, no, never mind. I know you thought you were accepted. You're not. Stay. It's tragic. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want to support this show, you can do it by clicking that join button below.